this Brahman? I put a question mark on the right. So just to open up for the discussion, just want to understand what are the views of friends who have joined this afternoon about who Brahman is. Let's spend a couple of minutes talking about this. Yeah, can we get volunteers to contribute, please? Okay, so let me just go myself then. So I've just put a question mark. Who is this Brahman? So this investigation of Brahman, the word Brahman itself is so beautiful. And this investigation of who this Brahman is. So first thing is, if you want to do jignasa, if you want to know about somebody, you first need to have some idea as to who this person is. If I want to know about Shah Rukh Khan and how great actor he is, I at least need to know who the Shah Rukh Khan is as a human being, who is a Bollywood actor and so on. I need to have some basic understanding. So I'm coming from that angle. So you're having Brahman. So who is this Brahman? So we can look at various evidences. You can look at etymological evidence, or you can look at scriptural evidence as to who this Brahman of the Vedas, Brahman of the Upanishads actually is. So the Shrutis beautifully say, Ata kasmad uchyate brahmeti bruhanto hi asmin gunaha. So that is the definition, etymological definition of who Brahman is. Bruhanto hi asmin gunaha. So we've done this before, but let me expand this more. So Brahman comes from the root word brih. Brih means brihanto. Brih means big, one that is all pervasive and huge and humongous. So that gives you that idea of brih is big. Yeah, Brihanto. So he is big. He is big in what? He is big in three aspects. He's all pervasive in three aspects. There are only three aspects in all of existence: all pervasive in time, all pervasive in space, and all pervasive in attributes. So all pervasive in time, you will be pleased to know. So along with Brahman, Jivas are also all pervasive in time, because there was never a point we were created and there is never a point we will be destroyed. We are eternal beings. So we are eternal along with the Supreme. In that sense, we are also Kalataha, we are all pervasive along with Brahman. Okay. Space, all pervasive in space. The one entity who is all pervasive in space is Brahman. The other entity who is all pervasive is called Chit Prakriti. Chit Prakriti is also called Lakshmi. So if you take Brahman as Vishnu, his consort Lakshmi is also all pervasive in time, and she is also all pervasive in space. So say the Vedas. Ambarini Shukta of Rig Veda explains this in great detail. Then you have all pervasiveness in attributes, gunas. Okay. Brahman is the only person who has infinite non-material attributes that are, the hint of it is given in the Vedas. So this person, Brihanto hi asmin gunaha, who is all pervasive in time, space, and attributes, is Brahman. So now we understand the etymology of the word Brahman: time, space, and attributes. Now, Madhva in his Brahma Sutra Bhasha will make a resounding claim. Brahma Shabdashta Vishnaveva. He will say, you know who this Brahman is? This Brahman is Vishnu himself. This Vishnu is Brahman of the Vedas and the Upanishads. And he goes and gives a list of evidences to prove that this Brahman is Vishnu. Okay. So I have actually said here, Om. Chititra, you want to go up a little bit to the lower end of the slide. So I've said Om equals Brahman equals Purusha equals Narayana equals Vishnu. And this is not a sentimental statement. We done Purusha Shukta for 8 weeks. And one of the key things that we understood from the Purusha Shukta is Sahasra Shirisha Purushaha, Sahasra Akshaha, Sahasrapad, Sabhumin Vishwato Vritva, Atyadishta Dasangulam, and he went on for so many beautiful verses we looked at. So key summary of that is Purna Shat Gunatvat Purushaha. So he who has infinite perfect attributes, he is Purusha. Okay. Narayana is an interesting word. It is not a single word. It has to be split in various forms. There are at least 6 to 8 different ways of splitting Narayana, but I'm just going to give you 2 examples. Ara means defects. Okay. Na Ara means no defects. Ayana means abode. So the first word is he who is abode of no defects, means auspicious attributes. Okay. Na Arayana means he has no defects. So the one who is full of positive attributes and one who is without any defects is Narayana. Okay? It is not about a person with four hands and holding few things. It is about the nature of that sentient being. And because his nature is being described here as Narayana. He is the same as Purusha. Look at Vishnu. And again, Vishnu can be the etymology of the word Vishnu is multifold, manifold. I've just taken one etymology. It comes from the dhatu vish. Vish means to pervade, to enter, to occupy. So to pervasion is a common theme that comes. Brahman, Purusha, Narayana, Vishnu, they're all the same. Look at Om. If you take Mandukya Upanishad, the very first verse is beautiful. It says, Om iti etad aksharam, idam sarvam, tasya upavyakhyanam, bhuta bhavat bhavishyaditi, sarvam omkara eva, sarvam hi etad brahma, ayam atma brahma, so ayam atma chatushpat. And it goes on and describes this Om as to who it is. And it's beautiful. And if you look at Mandukya Upanishad, it's clear. It says Om equals Aksharam equals Sarvam equals Brahma equals Atma. And if you have to go too far away, you just need to go to Vishnu Sahasranama and see what are all these names that are coming in Mandukya Upanishad. They are all the same names of Vishnu in Sahasranama, in Vishnu Sahasranama as well. So evidence is categorically clear that the etymological evidence that Brahman is Vishnu. So Atato Brahma Jignasa. So now we get a hint that probably Vedavyasa is alluding us towards this Vishnu or Narayana or Purusha that is described in the Vedas. Now I have put in my usual style, I put in a question mark. There are different views on Brahman. I have given you one view, but there are other views. Of course, there is a view that he does not exist. There is also a view that he is Nirguna. He's got no attributes and he is qualityless, very similar to zero. Yeah, very similar to Sunya. So there is this concept of Nirguna Brahman. So just now I have said Brahman is one. The etymology of the word Brahman is he is with infinite attributes. Now, if I say it's Nirguna Brahma, it is actually it's self-contradictory. You have a word which is self-contradictory. You're saying he's infinite attributes, but he is Nirguna. So that itself is problematic. That is another view. The other view is yes, he exists. He's Saguna, but it is not very. That Saguna Brahman is just a Namke Vaste. He's just there. Okay, that is another view. The other one is yes, he exists, but his attributes are different from him. So there are these various strands of Brahman in Vedantic philosophy, but from a theistic perspective, if you look at the scriptures, it is categorical that Om equals Brahman equals Purusha equals Narayana equals Vishnu. So we move to the next slide. Thanks, Chitran. So Brahma Shabdashta Vishnaveve. What is the scriptural evidence? Where is the scriptural evidence to prove that what Vedavyasa has said, this Brahman is Vishnu himself? Now, on the top left-hand side corner, I've given you an interesting historical analogy. It's interesting. Last week, we spoke about various Mimamsas that are there. Karma Mimamsa, Devi Mimamsa, and then Brahma Mimamsa. Those are the three Mimamsas in the Vedantic system. So, I'm sure some of you would know that Vedavyasa had various students, disciples. He actually asked his individual disciples to actually do this work. So, Jaimini of Karma Mimamsa, or Purva Mimamsa, was actually Vedavyasa. Okay? Then you had Shesha and Paila, and he asked them to write Devi Mimamsa. So when he actually asked Paila and Shesha to do Devi Mimamsa, he also wrote the first sutra and the last sutra of Devi Mimamsa. So the first sutra of Devi Mimamsa is Atato Devi Mimamsa. Okay? And the last sutra of Devi Mimamsa is Tam Brahma Achakshate iti sa Vishnur ahahi. Om Om Atato Brahma Jignasa Om. So that is how he started. So he wrote the last sutra of Devi Mimamsa, and immediately he wrote the first sutra of Brahma Mimamsa, Vedavyasa. So that internal evidence clearly says, previously he has said Satnur Ahahi Om Atato Brahma Jignasa. So that Vishnu is Brahman is one analogy and proof to show that Brahman is Vishnu. Then of course in Taittiriya Aranyaka there are a lot of evidences. So there is evidence in Balave Shruti. I don't think we have time to go through that. There are lots of evidence in Rig Veda. Yo Deva devana eva tam samprashnam bhuvanayanti anya. Rigveda again says ajasya nabha avadyekam arpitam yasmin vishwani bhuvanani tastuhu. Skanda Purana says that ajasya nabha is Vishnu himself. And Ambarini Shukta, Lakshmi says yam kamaye tam tamugram krunomi tam brahmanam tam rishim tam sumedam. Me, Lakshmi, can create anybody. I create Rudra, Indra, everybody I create. But my creator is Aham Suve Pitaramasya Murdan Mama Yonihi Apsvantaha Samudre. He says, my origin is in the Samudra. He is in that cosmic ocean, and alluding to Vishnu. So Lakshmi again celebrates him in the Ambarini Shukta. And as I said in Vishnu Sahasranama, all the ones that I've said, Aham, Om, Brahma, Sarva, etc., they're all in Vishnu Sahasranama for you to look at. So that is a scriptural evidence to say Brahma Shabdascha Vishnaveva. So moving on to the 13th slide, next slide. So the Vishnu as Brahman, yeah, it is not a Puranic concept. So there is some view saying that the Vishnu is one that came later among the Hindus. He was a Puranic god and so on. That is just exposes their ignorance. They've just not read the Vedas properly and the Upanishads properly. I hope in the previous slides I've given you a hint that this Brahman is the Vishnu who is celebrated. Now, when we did the lecture on Vedas, I told you about, we discussed about Rig Veda and how it is structured, what are the various 10 mandalas and how the suktas are there, how the riks are there and so on. So there are so many suktas in Rig Veda, and I put a statement in red. The importance of Vedic deities is not to be measured by the number of hymns devoted to them or by the extent to which they are invoked in the thoughts of the rishis, but by the functions they perform. Yeah, that is the key message. Look at the suktams that I've highlighted in the left. If you take Indra, there are 289 sukta. If you look at Vishnu, Rudra has got only 5. Yeah, Yama has got 4. So there are look at Soma 123. So you do not go with numbers, you go with what are the functions they perform. And I've cited a few verses from Rig Veda, well worth a time to think about this and contemplate this. Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha Vishnurnukam Virnani Parovocham Yaha Parthivani Vimame Rajamsi Paro Matraya Tanva Vridana Nate Mahitvam Anvashnuvanti Nate Vishnoho Jayamano Najato Deva Mahimnaha Paramam Antamapa. Rigveda celebrates this Vishnu in so many of the suttas. Katha Upanishad says Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Aitareya Upanishad, the Shanti mantra we have done before. Om Shanno Mitraha, Sham Varunaha, Shanno Bhavat Varyamaha, Shanno Indro Brihaspatihi, Shanno Vishnu Urukramaha. Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, Vishnurnim Kalpayat. Yeah, Gita, of course, is about Vishnu. So I think it's reasonable to conclude from all the evidence that I've given that Atataha Brahma Jignasa means Atataha Vishnu Jignasa. HinduKnowledgeAcademy.com will celebrate Vedic culture and present its philosophies to the modern Hindu in an accessible format. Our ancient heritage is our greatest strength. Through preservation and dissemination, together let us spread positivity in the world. Thank you for listening and welcome to Hindu Knowledge Academy.